Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faith, gentleness, self-control. And I'm exhausted already. How many of those things do I actually, show each and every day? Maybe one or two of them. On a good day, you might show sort of 50% of them. But you're always aiming for a little bit more. I can deal with the joy. Everyone wants a bit more joy. Everyone wants a bit more love and a bit more peace. Patience, when it comes to parenting, kindness. I want my kids to be kind, and I should probably be a little bit more kind. Goodness, yep, we should be. Faith, I've got to work on my gentleness. Okay, I need to chill out and be a little bit more gentle. Self-control. I was get to the end of that list. That's in Galatians chapter 5, by the way, if you want to find it. The last one seems to sum it all up. Self-control. The thing that you want your children to have more of and the thing that you probably need more of. And one of the things that's impacting that greatly in our season of raising children is the impact of the billions of screens around them at all times and the temptation to be on gaming consoles all of the time and the idea that they can all become influencers or all win money by becoming professional gamers, whatever it happens to be. There's a lot of digital information being thrown to the idea of dopamine getting digitally enhanced is big these days. So self-control is a big thing for us with our screens so that we can lead and love our children well and teach them well around the impact of the screens on them as well. So in this season of Father Figures, we've decided to delve a little bit deeper and to try and come up with some conversations that may help you as you traverse the same territory we're all traversing. How do you help your kid when it comes to their digital diet? And you know what? How do I have more self-control myself when it comes to the digital diet? Because it does seem to affect my feelings of peace, love, and everything else along the way. My name's Justin, and this is Father Figures. It's episode 2, season 2 of Father Figures. Mick Solomon's back in the house.
I've been wandering around. You didn't know where I was.
Had no idea.
Wasn't there.
Oh my goodness.
But I did listen to episode 1.
This is like the end of an M. Night Shyamalan movie where it's like it all comes together and it's suddenly... You were here all along?
I was here all along.
Or you were dead the whole time? I'm not sure.
Mr. Jones from the amusement park?
And I would have got away with it too if it wasn't for you pesky little kids. Anyway.
It's good to be back here with Father Figures talking about, what it's like to be a dad and as we try to figure stuff out.
How have you failed as a father lately?
Oh my goodness. The episode would not be long enough to check that off.
I was thinking about it recently. I was like, man, at some point we should do a top 10 list of dumb dad stuff. Dad fails.
Yeah.
Because I think, people possibly want to hear that we're good at our jobs. But I think more...
Reality is...
So, man, you've, just to check in with you, your life has changed a little in the last little while.
Yeah, well, doing different things now. It was interesting for those of you who might have listened to the first episode. We were, talking with Noddy, and he's just done some time at World Vision and finished up. I'm actually starting at World Vision, so different things for me.
So you have to wear an orange uniform now.
Yeah, I go from the rainbow colours of the light.
Yeah,
just through to an orange jumpsuit.
Well, orange is the new black.
I know. Well, I'm thinking about joining the SES.
Good,
because they come in orange.
So you're CFA currently. What CFA colours?
CFA's yellow.
Yellow. Oh, so it's a different hue. Just a little bit round the colour wheel. We lovingly... Well, what brings out your beard the most?
Oh, anything. Just me.
just the beard leads you into rooms.
The beard is
the first thing in the room.
Yeah.
But okay, so is orange okay for your eyes and stuff? Like, does it make your eyes pop?
No, I don't think orange is a good colour on a pale skinned guy.
No, okay.
Pale skinned bald guy. Not so much.
Well, for our first insight into Heath's life, he's failed at matching uniform colours with his eye colour.
I just look like a Jaffa, I think.
A Jaffa?
Yeah.
Okay. For those who aren't old enough to know what a Jaffa is, my kids.
I mean, old enough. They still make Jaffas.
I know, but no, my kids don't eat them.
Wow.
I made a joke. My church that I lead, we have a raked floor.
Yep.
So I made a joke the other day to some of my older parishioners, like, don't throw jaffas if the preaching's bad. Don't roll them down
roll them down the aisle.
Right? And they all laughed. And my kid's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
You drop the round lolly at the top of the theatre or the church, and it rolls down the wooden floor.
That was really an advertising thing, I think, that we grew up with.
Oh, have I been sucked in?
Yeah, I think that was an advertising
So
thing.
You haven't had jaffas thrown at you at
No,
performances?
not yet.
I've certainly had people walk out of my preaching. But that's another episode.
It was just your kids. But anyway.
3 minutes in, I said to Hopi the other day, did you like Daddy's preaching? It was very long, Dad. that was it. That's all I got.
It's a fair reflection.
And this is me trying to keep it short because the kids are in the... We don't have a kids ministry at the moment. The church is too small.
Good.
Anyway, she knows her way around. She's fine. One day she'll be the preacher and I'll be throwing jaffas at her. So that's all I'm saying. We get to get our kids back. Love you, mate. So great to have you back in the room, and congrats on the new role.
Thank you, man.
Just by the way, what is the role?
It's working in their fundraising team. So that's the role that I sort of had at The Light.
Yeah.
Was working in the fundraising team, and so just going across the World Vision. So.
But you've done that in lots of NGOs. You've done that at CBMI, and it's just sort of a passion for you, isn't it?
You know, I often say about fundraising, it's no kid when they're growing up ever says, I want to be a fundraiser when I grow up. It's
astronaut, pop star,
police
fundraiser.
officer, fundraiser. Never happens. It's one of those things you kind of fall into and become passionate about.
Yeah.
And that's really how I did. And ironically, I actually started my sort of fundraising journey at World Vision in the mid-90s. So I've worked there before in the 90s, and it was a couple of years just sort of doing some short-term thing. And here I am, back there after all that time. What's that, 25, 30 years later, I'm back.
Congrats on growing up and being an adult. Look at you adulting. You're adulting really well.
I know.
So you're adulting really well. How are you dadding? You dadding okay? I'm just checking in.
How do we rate that?
How do we rate the dadding? Because you've done the summer with the boys.
Yep, summer's gone. We're well into the year now.
Yeah,
we've made it through. I guess the first little stint of school, and I think it always takes a while to adjust, doesn't it? Both adjust to school holidays, particularly the summer school holidays that are quite long. But then I think it also takes a while to adjust to when they go back to school, to go, oh, that's right, we've got homework that we've got to get done. We've got lunches that have to be made.
The rhythms, trying to get the rhythms back.
Yeah, it just takes a little while to find that. So... So
you're back now. Just to remind everybody of our setups as parents, you have 3 boys that you're co-parenting.
Yes,
and you have them half the week.
Yeah, front half of the week. Yeah.
So how does that go when you're talking about work-life balance and you're looking at a new role? How scary is it for you? Like, do you feel like you're going to drop the ball on it? Like,
yes and no.
Because you're very passionate about being there for your kids. We've talked about that.
And I think that makes it a bit easier when I kind of go, well, that's a no compromise.
Got it.
The kids, you don't get a choice.
Work does not get a choice over that. That's not there.
The kids are just going to be number one because they have to be, but also they demand it.
Right.
And you can't just ignore them. They're going to be
Despite my best efforts.
I tell you, I've tried many times.
I've tried ignoring you too. That's not working out either.
So, there's an element. It's more, I feel like, how do I manage to convince, work it takes that
would have been
priority.
Jump into that just for a second, because if you're a young person, it's your first job, your second job, you don't have the confidence to say to the boss, I've got kids at home and you can't overstep that. Is it just you're a bit older now and you're just confident? You know the world's not going to collapse and they can deal with it.
In many roles that you have in life, in jobs, in most cases you eventually work out that, they actually need me as much as I need them.
Right.
This is a very codependent relationship that you enter into.
Let's call it interdependent. That sounds healthier.
Okay, let's go interdependent. Codependent, interdependent. Yeah, look, let's not dictionary that up.
No, I'm saying...
But no, you're right. I think there's just that element of when you realise that actually this place, they really do need me and they want me, so they will adjust and adapt and they will be okay.
Yeah.
And one of my old bosses used to talk about the juggling balls that you have in life. You've got work, you've got family, you've got, say, your church life, you've got your friends, you've got, relatives, social life, whatever. And he said, you're juggling these balls, but one of those balls is a glass ball.
Wow.
And the one that's glass is the family.
Wow.
And he said, you can drop all the other ones and they will bounce back up. But the family one, you drop that, that's going to break.
gold,
and it's really stuck with me, this idea of...
I've never heard that before. I'm going to sit on that one for sure.
That's where so that makes priorities easy to work out when you go,
right.
I can drop that one for a bit and I'll be okay. It'll come back.
So, because it might be relevant to other people who are maybe going for new work or whatever. When you're talking about you're in the job interview or whatever, is that in the lead part of the conversation for you? Are you putting that out there first?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I don't open with it.
No, yeah. Hey, I can work for you, but only for 6 hours on a Friday night.
Yeah. Very much as a part of when you get to the point of, I guess, getting into the nitty gritty of a role, and you're through.
So you didn't have any nerves about that these days?
No,
you don't
none
have nerves
whatsoever.
about that. Yeah.
You know, because it's such a reality for those of us who are parents and particularly have younger kids.
Yeah.
You know, that are more demanding of our time. You know, not saying that older kids are not. They're just demands are in a different way.
Yeah.
But the younger ones, you know, someone's got to be there to get them from school. I can't just let them walk home from school because it's too far. Yeah. And I can't leave them in the house on their own easily. So, you know, there's just realities.
And I think it's interesting because so many of us are tempted, because again, a job can be about maybe a pay rise or conditions are better, or maybe it seems like a bit more of an exciting job. Those things can get in the way of the straightforward logic. And I've worked with friends, as you have. I've worked with people I've tried to pastor through this of like, you can't take that job. You can't. It doesn't work with your family.
Absolutely.
It just doesn't.
Yeah, you've got to work out what's the flexibility within it, you know. And I knew going into this role that World Vision have a policy of 3 days in the office, 2 days from home. And so my first question is, what are the 3 days in the office? Because I got my kids on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah. Now I can give you one of those days and I can negotiate things with my parents and etc. Yeah. But I can't give you 2 or 3 of those days in the office. So I'm really upfront with that. Yeah. And they were great through the process, and you know, that's all going to be fine. But
for anyone that's looking at work and balancing, because you're doing that single parenting for half a week thing, like it's a very unique. But there are plenty of people listening to our podcast that are working with blended family situations and shared custody situations. And so I just think, again, we would espouse the value of trying desperately to find the job that fits your family, not the family to fit the job. Yeah,
it's so true. It's so true, you know, because that is just our reality that we live in.
And again, I do get a little bit of the old school of, you know, the kids will be fine, you know. Is it called helicopter parenting when you're there too much?
Yeah. You
know, like the kids need time away from you as well. And, you know, my goodness, there's so many things. Yeah. But a lot of it is just understanding that this time just goes so fast. Yeah. I can't get over it. I think I said on last season, you know, my first child is I've got this adult living in my house. Yeah. And he's in charge of his own life. Yeah. And he still wants to eat my food. What's up with that?
That doesn't change, does it?
But it's weird because, and he loves it, I think, for the most part, but I still kiss him like he's my baby. You know?
Yeah.
I still, you know, grab him and, you know,
give him a cuddle.
I mean, we wrestle and do all that. But I feel blessed as a dad, because I know not every dad has that experience of the child grows into an adult and they still like you. So far, so good. So I don't want to make anyone feel bad about that. But it is a remarkable thing that you have to live this timeline to understand this timeline. You didn't understand when your dad said, "Man, it's gone so fast."
No.
I didn't understand. What are you talking about? It's taken me ages to turn 18.
Yeah.
It took me so many years to turn 18.
It's so true. You know, I remember my oldest son, when he started year 7, I said to him, I'm just telling you, I know you're not going to believe me. Yeah. But you're going to be in year 12 before you know it. Yeah. Now, he's gone into year 11 this year, and he still references that. He goes, you know, Dad, I remember when you said to me it's going to go fast. And he goes, there's been times when it's painfully slow, Dad. He goes, but on a whole, I'm going into year 11. He goes, I feel like I started year 7 last year. So he's even noticed that speed of time, you know, because we just get there's so much going on. And I mean, it's always been the case, really, even because time always, you know, goes fast wherever you are, regardless of the speed of the world around us. But yeah, you really notice it as you get older.
One of my passions at the moment, one of my little life themes seems to be, it sounds daft when I say it out loud, it's pay attention. I've been using it in a lot of different aspects of my world, talking to people about just pay attention. Last week, Noddy shared a story about seeing a rare bird in their tree at home, and his wife taking a photo of it, and it became this whole thing of understanding how rare this bird was. And there's a whole lesson there. Go back and listen to the episode. Yeah, go
listen to that. That was fantastic.
But one of the things I noticed straight away was they were sitting long enough to see a bird in a tree, to be fascinated by it, and to take the picture. There's a whole lot of paying attention that figuring out fatherhood, I think one of the biggest keys is pay attention. Yeah. Because these moments are going to fly by. Yeah. And you're not going to catch all of the foibles. You're not going to, you can't protect them from everything, just like you can't protect yourself from everything. But for you, how does it go week to week? Is there a switch that flicks halfway through the week where you pay attention differently?
Look, I think during the front half of the week when I have the kids, I have to consciously tell myself that the me time is coming at the back half of the week.
Right.
So put that thing down, put your device down, put whatever, pay attention. It really is. It's the pay attention now because I'll get the distraction time that I want later on when they're gone. And I know that not every family works that way. Some people are...
But that's the point. We're talking about the uniqueness.
Single families and single parents, and they got them all the time. And that must be just super hard. Yeah. But that's how I manage it. I can tell myself, well, I know when I get to Thursday night and I get to Friday night, I've got those nights to myself, and that's when I can, watch the show that I want to watch or do whatever.
So when you're holding that glass ball, what is it that you would scold yourself for? If you were dropping that ball, what does that look like for you?
Oh, that's a great question. I think it would be the opposite of what we've just been talking about, not paying attention. Not paying attention to my kids because work or something else has taken priority. And those things need to take priority for moments. It's when they take priority for a long period of time. And that for me is dropping the ball when I'm just not focused. I've spent the last couple of nights not paying attention to the kids. Yeah. I've been sitting at my computer either doing work or doing something else.
Yeah. I always think another way you can think of it is how many times have you used today have you used the phrase just a minute?
Oh, man.
Give me a few minutes. I'll be with you in a minute.
Don't say that.
Right?
Yeah.
And you know what's funny is this is the mirror that sometimes if the kids use that phrase with me, I am really short.
Same.
I'm like, no, I'm not waiting
now.
a minute. It's now.
And then we do it 10 minutes later. Just wait a minute.
Just a minute. I am dadding.
Yeah.
This is important dadding that I'm doing.
I do a podcast, kids.
Yes,
I should know.
You don't. I've got a podcast about this. I'm writing a book. Nobody knows about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really true, isn't it?
The just a minute part of our day, which you can do with your partner, you can do with the kids, you can do with... I mean, the thing is, part of the time, when you go back to that juggling the balls kind of image, in what priority do you tell people just a minute? So for me, pastoral work, some of it is very immediate. Some of it is there's an emergency happening right now. Yep. Someone's going to the hospital, someone's, there's a disaster happening and it's a right now thing. So some of that has been almost the scalability. I'm currently working in a much smaller environment than I have been for the previous 20 years, and I'm noticing the difference.
Yeah, right.
It's beautiful. I actually have, and again, to anyone that works in church world, good on you, big, small, whatever you're doing. Yeah. But I have been thankful to God for his grace in allowing me to work in a space that actually suits my family right now.
Yeah.
Because, I've worked in multi-campus spots where, there's a lot more meetings. There's staff meetings. There's HR. There's, and I'm running the youth program and my kids have to go to the youth program. There's been those seasons.
Yep.
This season right now, which I'm really thankful for, is we can just... It's just a small congregation in a small space full of, there's stuff. It's just different problems.
Yeah,
just different problems.
Yeah.
But it's more manageable for me personally and professionally.
That's great.
Yeah.
That must be I suspect, does it feel like a weight off your shoulders? Does it feel like, oh man, I can finally
it really
focus
does.
here?
But what I'm trying to share with people is by explaining my current context and the joy of it, I am not regretting the previous contexts either. Yeah. Because I firmly believe in, some of life is working in the mall and some of life is working in the specialty shop down the side street, if you can find joy in those places, honestly, that's the overall thing, isn't it? Yeah. Is there joy in what you're doing? Mm-hmm. Is it burning you or fueling you?
Yeah.
you know. And so, and again, there's other episodes on that, but, you know, there certainly have been times in work life, and in my life, it's been church work, which fundamentally, well, like yours in NGOs, it's good. You're a good person doing good work. And it seems strange sometimes where you hate that place. I'm sure you've never found that in a workplace.
No.
But it shocked me years ago when I realised that I was walking into a place that was built to bring life and bring hope, and I didn't want to be there.
Yeah, wow.
And so the reflection, of course, at the end of the day was, there was obviously structure stuff with staffing, and there were bosses I didn't like and whatever. But a lot of it was, hey, Juz, pay attention.
Yeah.
This is not your pond.
Yep.
Get out. Even the stuff we were talking to Noddy about last week, about some of the environments that our kids absorb themselves into, especially in the online environment, the pond that they jump into, if they don't pay attention, will swallow them whole. Yeah. Because it just becomes their whole world. Yeah. How do you go about it? You go back to the co-parenting, the screen time rules, the what sort of games they're allowed to play, the which devices they have. Is that like just a weekly conference call? How the heck do you do that?
Oh, man. Look, to be fair, we really probably run slightly different views
regimes.
Across the two houses.
Across
the two houses. At my house, but my house is generally a lot more structured in its approach, because that's me. Yep. I'm very structured. I'm very organised. I'm like, dinner is at this particular time. We sit at the table for dinner. With
that's
the
why
boys.
you and I never lived together.
Yeah, that wouldn't have worked.
You would have killed me.
Yeah. Why are all your clothes on the floor, Justin? Yeah. So you know, we at dinner time, you know, I was interested in hearing Noddy's version of what they do at dinner time.
Yeah.
We don't have to say no phones at the table, because I've only got one kid that's got a phone.
Right.
The other two are too young.
Too young, yeah.
So we just don't have phones at the table.
We'll catch that. What's too young by your rules?
So one's just turned 11, the younger one, and 8.
So when's a phone? I think we've talked about this before. Is there an age you've agreed on?
No, there's not. The 11-year-old's not that into that sort of stuff, so I don't think he's going to be champing at the bit. The other one, they have old phones, you know, like
dumb phones.
Yeah, it's got a cracked screen that somebody broke a few years ago, and you know,
if they touch it, they get splinters, glass splinters.
Correct, that's pretty much. And
it'll cause you pain. Why not?
He's got a set of headphones, and you know, he's got sort of auditory, sensory sort of things that he needs.
So that's
perfect for him. He can just listen to music, and that's great. But at dinner time, we each eat dinner, and the thing that we've started doing, I don't know how it came up. We go around the table, and someone says, "I'm thinking of a car."
Yeah.
And then the other people have got to guess what the car is.
Right.
You know, how many wheels has it got? 4? Well, 5 if you put the spare in.
Hey.
And we'd play this game. Everyone gets a turn. And so that sort of dinner conversation, if you like, and it evokes all kinds of things. But the technology stuff, like, it's really hard. My oldest son is, like most 16-year-olds, totally obsessed with everything that's on his phone and on his computer. And it's hard to manage.
Yeah.
It really is, because I didn't have that same addiction when I was that age, because it wasn't there.
Yeah.
But he certainly does. And
well, I think that's the point, is that it becomes an addictive process, and you're recognising in your child by their personality type and by everything else, and now you're trying to protect them without shutting down their world.
Yeah, totally. You know, and I heard you talking last week to Noddy and saying things like, you know, that's not real. You know, that's fake.
Yeah.
You know,
the AI world, yeah.
Yeah, the AI world. Or, you know, the other night we had a conversation about immigration, and my older son said, "Yeah, I don't actually like immigration. I think it's..." And I go, I
wonder what he meant by that.
Yeah, well, I just said straight away, "Oh, what YouTube video did you get that from?"
Yeah.
And he smiled at me. He goes, "Yeah, it was a YouTube video."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "So you've made a whole assumption about immigration from watching one YouTube video?" Because but it was really good. I'll show it to you.
Yeah, the stats.
Yeah. And I'm like, you know, it's this, the thing that I've recognised with social media and kids, or my kids, my oldest one finds his truth. Like when he needs to know the answer to something, he goes to the internet. So the internet is his home of truth. Wow. So therefore, everything that he sees on the internet is truthful. Like, I believe it. Why wouldn't I? It's never lied to me in the past.
Because you haven't got a filter again. You haven't got an adult
You've
filter.
got, whereas that's not how we grew up as Gen Xers. We didn't grow up with that. We grew up with we have to go to the library and read a book, or we have to have a conversation.
I still know how to use a microfiche.
Yeah, we had to search for things in microfiche. Right? It's so true. It's such a different environment. So I find trying to just not get angry at that moment where he goes, I'm against immigration. Like, I want to, as somebody who's passionate about human rights and, all those kind of things.
You're not going to bend on that because of the YouTube video? Yeah.
Mind you, I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, who knows?
It's very convincing.
Convincing. Came with graphics and everything.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, it's true. How do you go with it? Like, how do you find...
Well, the thing that I try to do is find the most open question I can. So in case of that, why do you think that?
Yeah.
So what I try and do is do the Switzerland and say, why?
Tell me why.
How have you understood that?
Yep.
So you try and make the world bigger for them.
Yep.
And understand that source of information. So for us, the biggest thing in our house over a couple of weeks ago, of course, which would be massive in your house too, of course, was the Doncic trade. The AD and Doncic trade.
That came up big time.
Yeah.
NBA.
Okay. So in my house, that's a big deal. They're like, the kids are freaking out.
Yeah, totally. A bit of background, it was the biggest trade history in NBA history.
In NBA history.
American basketball history.
And so, of course, within the first 24 hours, people are trying to find, and my son was watching one that linked it to, somehow they'd linked it to the owners of the team, the LeBron and several other, like the CEO of the NBA, Las Vegas, like there was, incredible. And I'm watching.
Was Trump involved somewhere? Surely,
probably,
Trump,
yeah. And it started, and there was an eye in a pyramid at one point. But then Nicolas Cage showed up, and he realised that on the back of the Independence. Anyway, don't steal my script ideas. Right? That's all I'm saying. But this YouTube video was so fast moving, and it linked these things, and there was graphics going, look, you circle this person and you draw a line to that person. They're all trying to move the team to Las Vegas. Now, whatever. It's this big theory. But they were watching it as pure information.
Yeah.
There's no, at the end of those YouTube clips, there's no source material. They're not linking you to the source material.
No bibliography.
There's no bibliography.
It's not a journal.
There's no peer review.
There's no peer review. Imagine if they did peer reviews on YouTube.
Peer reviewed YouTube. YouTube for academics. 3 people are watching. I think we should start that. We could make the greatest loss-leading business ever made. YouTube for academics. So, but this is the point, is that I still, call me old, whatever, but they call it legacy media now. But there are still places that are trying to get 2 to 3 sources before they report something. So I actually often will point them back to, and forgive me for being a preacher for a minute, but one of the reasons we trust the scriptures is because the source material is being tested over and over and over and over again. And you can go to the, here's the reason that we have so many copies of it and all sorts of things. So I try and teach them a very broad kind of sweeping idea of anything you see and hear, you are allowed to ask about. You're allowed to ask, is that true?
Yep.
Where did it come from?
Yep.
How is that understood? Because as you well know, migration has always been. If you want to get a vote, you say this or you say that.
Yeah.
But if you want to have a discussion about it, that's years.
Yeah.
That's years.
Yeah.
And then, you know what? A war will change everything.
Yep.
And a famine will change everything. There's so many nuances. And so what you're trying to do is teach your kids, this world just isn't black and white. We call this thing father figures because I don't have the answers. I've got some ideas, and I'm going to surround myself with people that look like the fruit of their life is good. And hopefully when people come to you and I for help in this space, you would expect that's because they've seen some good results from our lives. That's all. So I'm forever trying to, it's, you know what, bottom line, it's how do you teach your kids critical thinking? So you're online and a pretty girl says, hey babe, I love you. That's not a pretty girl. It's a at best it's a bot, at worst it's a guy in a basement somewhere. So you're trying to teach them critical thinking. Would a real human woman say that to you in real life? have you ever, you're in high school, have any of the girls ever
Yeah.
spoken to you like that?
Yeah.
No, don't. Of course not,
Yeah.
because they're human. So you're trying to teach critical thinking. Now, again, the monster of the internet is that they have the kids' eyeballs and ears
Yeah.
faster than we can get
And
them.
it's their truth.
And it's their truth. So I come back to, how do we create, we've said it in season 1 so many times, how do we create the third space?
Yeah.
How do we create a space where there's some neutrality, some sensibility, no screens around?
Yeah.
How do you suck them out of that world? And again, when you're single parenting, you get the one-on-one time is so much harder.
Yeah.
Because to have one-on-one time with one,
You're outnumbered.
Yeah. But you're also not spending one-on-one time with the other two.
Yeah, that's right.
In your case. But so I guess maybe the dumb question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that you're doing an okay job in that space?
Can this go into negatives? Because
Yeah, right? Some of us feel that way.
It's like...
Well, Noddy asked me last week, I'm scared of everything. Like, not in an irrational way.
Yeah.
Just it's that thing of like, there are so many hours of the day where I don't know what they're seeing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's always been the case. My parents didn't know what I was seeing and doing, but in a whole different way. But, these kids, if they don't have a device, even if they don't have a device, or even if their device is dumb, they've got a mate that's got a smart one.
Yeah. So true. It's so true.
And so, I don't want to end this conversation on a negative, but I do want to say that the paying attention part of it is actually a superpower.
Yeah.
And, you and I talk about this because we're trying to help each other.
Yeah.
Honestly. So, look, I'm sorry for leaving all my clothes on the floor and not hugging you enough.
No, you've hugged me enough. There's no doubt. There's no doubt about that.
I'm going to hug you again. It's
leaving
coming.
the clothes on the floor, different
it's
story.
coming.
Yeah.
So, look, I tell you what, congrats on the new job.
Oh, thanks, man.
Sorry we didn't come up with any major answers on that one.
Well, I'm excited because I know this season we're looking and talking to a variety of people about, how we raise kids in a digital world.
Yeah.
I'm really interested to hear what other people have got to say. We're sharing our hearts. We've heard from Noddy, bits and pieces. Look forward to hearing from other people in how we do that.
And so I think the encouragement I'm going to take from this day is that family is the glass ball.
Yeah.
Try your darndest not to drop that one.
Yeah. Amen.
Love you, mate.
You too.
We'll be back with more episodes, I tell you. And, by the way, can you take some time to rate and review it? Rate and review. So go onto your digital device to one of your 12 screens. Go to your podcast provider, press subscribe, and then like and follow and all of the things, and rate and review us. And then we'll send you more, digital updates through your digital device about our digitally based program. The point is this: we're all trying to figure this out together. So please stick around for the journey and enjoy father figuring with us.